I'm going to kick this off here. My name is Pete Larkin, and I'm the chapter president. I love putting on these events, meeting new people. I love having y'all here, networking, connecting. One of the things I love to do when we start these events is to try and help people who are looking for work to find work. It's one of the benefits of these types of events. So I want to start off. Who here right now is currently looking for work? If you don't mind raising your hand. Okay. All right, got a couple here. Who, and specifically, I know this is more of a marketing event. Those hands that went up are these marketing jobs that you're all looking for. If you're looking for a marketing job, why don't you raise your hand? Okay, cool. Who here knows that your company is currently looking for a marketing hire? Okay. We got 4 or 5. Can you raise them just a little bit higher? Those people who were just raise their hands that says you're searching. Please look at these people here. Connect up after the event. Go find each other. Connect on LinkedIn, all that jazz. But this is a perfect place. The stories that I love hearing is when people meet here and find jobs from these relationships. I love that. So here, this is what we're looking at for the agenda. We're going to have just talk a little bit about our sponsors. After some word from our sponsors, we're going to have the keynote presentation from Alex MacArthur, Man of the Hour. He's got some cool news to share. And then we'll do a little bit of Q&A at the end. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're going to start. We've had a little bit of tech problem, guys. I apologize. So I'm going to pull out of the presentation here. We're going to show a video from Creatively. While I get that geared up, I'm going to invite Damian Dayton to come and chat with us about Creatively. If you want to give him a round of applause, I'm going to hand it off here.
Thank you so much. I want to thank Pete for putting this together and Matt for helping build this community. Silicon Slopes has done a lot with tech companies, and we think there's just so much opportunity for us marketers and consumer products people, and we just want to invest and help build that community as well. You may not know our name, but you've probably seen a lot of our work. We've helped grow companies like PillowCube. We made Kizik's first commercial. It's not out there anymore. It was a long time ago. We helped launch Gab. We made spots for Thread and the like. And as we've helped startups grow, we realize we don't like going after Nikes. We like helping the companies that have figured out their product market fit and help them grow rapidly. And that's kind of what we like to do, is entertain and sell. We've also begun to see that people are behaving like LinkedIn is their Facebook, and there's opportunities in the business-to-business marketing space as well. So anyway, just wanted to introduce us. We're here locally. We're a boutique agency. If you meet anybody at our agency, it's somebody who would personally work on your ad, because we all put work in together on your stuff. And we're just so excited to be here. So thank you so much. This is like our 5th year in business, and this is the first commercial we've ever created for ourselves. You know, they say a plumber's house always has leaks, so be kind to us. But this is our first spot, so thank you so much.
Oh, is this your ad? I didn't see it there, because it's boring. We're Creatively, and we're bad at blending in. We make funny ads that last 2 to 4 minutes. They grab attention, they keep attention, and let your product shine.
But can you make a serious ad?
Sure, but nobody's gonna watch it. We've done hundreds of tests and found that comedy performs best.
Can't I just get an influencer to do it for me?
You can, but that won't scale. Plus, so many brands are doing it. It's beginning to bug consumers. Shoot, you need something that cuts through the noisy sameness. You need Creatively.
How about a short ad? Listen, if you hate something, it doesn't matter if it's 30 seconds or 3 minutes.
Oh, gosh, I hate exercising. But if you love something, you can't get enough. So if people aren't watching your ad, it's not the length, it's the love. You need to earn the view, like I earned this. At Creatively, we love skippable ads. With skippable ads, you only pay for people who make it past the first 15 seconds. On average, ads only retain about 7% of viewers. Creatively ads earn viewers. We shoot for 20 to 30%. So if we throw 1 million people at your ad and 20% hang on, that's 200,000 viewers who want to spend 3 minutes with your brand, listen to your message, and turn into a customer. You get targeted performance and inexpensive branding in one campaign. A wise man once said, the secret to life is to find out who you are and do it on purpose. And that man was Dolly Parton. At Creatively, we go to great lengths to understand you and then make an ad with purpose. And that purpose is growth. If you trust your product, trust our process. We make little companies big and big companies bigger.
If you're so great at growing brands, then why don't you do it for yourself?
Good question, Rando Camo Guy. Creatively has started their own companies and grows them the same way they want to grow you. Other agencies say they'll get you big wins, but they've never taken the big swings they're asking you to take. I mean, would you trust a mechanic who doesn't own a car?
Cars scare me.
Growing companies is what we do. Creatively started PillowCube and grew them from 30,000 to 30 million. They acquired StairSlide and grew them from 6 figures to 7 figures in less than a year. Heck, they did $1 million in sales just over the Black Friday weekend. That's just 3 days. We've worked on our business engine, and we know how to get it humming. Heck, you could even say we wrote the manual. Our Go Fast, Grow Fast formula has a recipe for whatever stage you're in and exactly what you need to get to the next level. Our real passion is helping brands grow, brands like yours. And as we say around here, your success is the hero of our story. But don't take my word for it. Let's see what these nice people have to say.
They care so deeply about their work that they put out.
And it was really encouraging to know that we were working with a partner that was as invested in our success as we are.
Other groups are loyal to their brand and their formula of what works. But Creatively is loyal to your brand and discovering a formula that will work for your situation.
I cry every time we make people money. We've done it with all these companies.
So why doesn't everyone do it?
Because it doesn't work for everybody. We've developed a proprietary 5D formula that helps us identify brands that are ready for explosive growth. We look for brands and products that are disruptive, democratic, demonstrable, desirable, deliverable, and have the dollars for distribution.
Hey, that's like 7 Ds.
I know, it makes us sound picky, but that's only because we are picky. We want to work with brands that we know we can grow. It's kind of our thing.
So can I get a pamphlet or something?
No, but you can talk to one of our business development experts for a free 5D evaluation and see if explosive growth is in your future. So, if you are ready for massive growth, give us a call.
All right. Let's give a hand applause. Yeah. Cool. Let me get out of here. Free advertising there. Okay, cool. Kick this back off. All right, for this next part, I'd like to invite Brigham Larkin up. Okay, so as someone who puts in a lot of effort to organizing these events, I get to take a little bit of liberties on some things. And one of them, this is my brother Brigham. Come on up, Brigham. Woo woo. So Brigham, he works at Texas Roadhouse. He's been there how many years now?
14 years in July 10.
On July 10th, it'll be 14 years. Maybe you've seen him if you've gone to the Texas Roadhouse here in Lehigh. He's their greeter. Yeah. So there's a lot of good blood in our family, mainly his. But there's also a little bit of riff in our blood because I kind of bleed blue. I'm a BYU guy. And Brigham bleeds red. He's a University of Utah guy. We love both schools. We respect both schools. But since the University of Utah is our main sponsor today, I wanted to give Brigham the opportunity to do the introduction to our Utah sponsor.
Thanks, Pete. Thank you. I just want to share with you, all of you, I want to thank you for the sponsor, for the food, for University of Utah. I know all of you work here for a long time now, and I want to invite Jason to talk to you about University of Utah. Jason, please.
Appreciate it. All right, thank you. Clicker, you're good? All right. So first off, thank you, Pete. Thank you for Silicon Slopes and the team here for inviting us to be a sponsor today, and all of you for being a part of it. Looking forward to hearing from Alex later and all of his great experience to share with all of us. Want to share with you guys a little bit about what's happening up on the campus, University of Utah. I know it's very, very far away, and that you guys don't drive up there very often, most likely. But there's some great things happening up there. Oh, wrong way. Let's go back the other way. There we go. So my name's Jason Sloan. I'm the Director of Executive Education at University of Utah David Eccles School of Business. And what does the executive education department do? So before I get into that, real quick, show of hands, any U of U alumni in the crowd? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty decent number. Excellent. Nice to see you all. How many BYU alumni in the crowd? All right, slightly outnumbered. What about UVU? Okay, yeah, foreign territory down here. I get that. So here's the good news. All right, University of Utah Executive Education, we don't care where you went to school, okay? We don't care if you did an undergraduate program. If you're looking to develop your growth, if you're looking to be a lifelong learner, if you are looking to enhance your skill set, we welcome you to campus and to our programs. And I'm going to share a little bit with you about that today. At the University of Utah, what we do is we take the content from our executive MBA professors, nationally ranked program, top 20 in the US, and we put that together for individuals and organizations to help them meet their challenges and needs. So we look at establishing what you need for your culture and growth, both as an individual and the organization. And we do that typically through helping individuals and aspiring leaders build their executive presence. So we offer non-degreed courses, so certificate-based programs. And we do that both in open enrollment and custom programs. So open enrollment means as an individual, you can come and take a course, pick from our catalog, come and take a course for a couple days. We typically run courses Thursday and Friday, 2-day courses. So we're all friends here, right? We're all friends? Okay. So yesterday I had some exciting news. I can't actually promote it, but I can tell friends about it. So University of Utah Executive Education was ranked number 4 in the country for our open enrollment program. So one of the top 5 executive education departments is right up the road for you, your colleagues, your organization. And we do topics from leadership, teams, strategy of negotiations, innovation mindset. We pull professors additionally from our Master of Business Creation. Some of you may or may not be aware, but the entrepreneurship program at the Lassonde Center at University of Utah is number 3 in the world for entrepreneurship. So you have access to those professors through our programs as well. So real quick, if you're interested, I encourage you to take a quick scan of the QR code up here and learn a little bit more about our programs, courses, certificates. We do Lean Six Sigma training, Green Belt, Black Belt. Our executive leadership certificate, we have 11 classes each semester, fall and spring. If you complete 6 of those, there's no time limit for completing those 6. You're an executive leadership certificate. Our Women in Leadership program, I want to take a moment and talk about this. We've had participants from Adobe, Ancestry, Pluralsight, Overstock. This is by far our most in-demand certificate. We only have 3 spots open for the fall, and that doesn't start till September. But the rankings typically that we get from our participants are 95% plus, and been so popular we added a second Women in Leadership program, Women in Leadership 2. And we're actually looking to run potentially 2 cohorts next spring to meet that demand. We also offer online certificate programs in equity, diversity, and inclusion, MBA foundations. If you've been thinking about getting your MBA and want to get a little bit of a taste for what that content looks like, then the MBA foundations course would be great for you. Authentic leadership and digital transformation. So we also do custom programs, and this is really where we shine. So the first thing that we do is we meet with an organization and assess where their challenges are and talk about what kind of content is be most effective to help them meet their challenges. We then design a program collaboratively with the organization, and that can be a combination of virtual sessions. We like to kick things off in person. We have a brand new facility up there on campus. We have 8 tiered classrooms. We have an executive lounge, beautiful view of the entire valley. So please come up and see our space. And then the delivery. And we can be flexible in what works for you, participants, and your organizations. And then most importantly, a lot of us have been to trainings, And typically, science says you forget about 90% of what you learn in the training if you don't do some sort of application with it. When we design our programs, we design that follow-up so that we can make sure what you're learning and what your employees are learning are being applied into the organization. Finally, as I mentioned, I know it's a bit of a drive up to campus, Utah, North Salt Lake. So back before the pandemic, boo pandemic, we did a Point of the Mountain series. And what we did is we brought our professors down here to the Point of the Mountain, and we did one-day training programs hosted at organizations. We're going to be bringing that back this fall. So please keep an eye out. We'll be working a little bit with Pete and the team here to talk about locations to host and those kinds of things. But we'll be bringing some of our professors down here for a one-day program. We'll do 4 of those through the fall and into the spring, and there'll be a little certificate that you'll be able to earn if you attend all 4 of those. So with that, please follow us on LinkedIn. You can get information and see what's coming up with events. Not only do we do programs, we have a women's symposium. We host some of the women's events as well as other collaborative sessions, and we invite people to come and attend as well. So with that, I appreciate your time, and thanks for letting us be a part of today.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. And thanks again for providing lunch today. We're going to kick the real presentation here off. Just a quick intro. Alex, this is going to be almost just like most of my introductions, ridiculously short, almost embarrassingly short. I've been watching Alex's career for a while, even back from when he probably didn't know people were watching in like the orange soda days. But starting off, I'm just tracking from Orange Soda forward. But VP of Search at Orange Soda, VP at SEO.com, VP of Internet Marketing at Perch, and then where I think a lot more people started becoming familiar with Alex's work, there at Purple, Chief Marketing Officer. This is Hands-Free Labs, sorry. And then which is coupled or partnered with Kizik, correct? I can say what I want. This is my event. I apologize. But and then, of course, now being at Kizik and the incredible things he's doing there. Now, one of the reasons I really wanted to have Alex come and share, aside from just being a marketing boss, is I know the type of work that he's done has taken a lot of guts. It's taken a lot of risks. And if you've watched his career and the work that he's done, if you see the fruits of his work, you see kind of his portfolio, if you will, you know that the internal discussions that happen with board members and VPs and leaders, CEOs, C-levels, you know that there is probably a lot of kickback, a lot of friction at times. And also, there's going to be some resistance. Hopefully, not too much. But this stuff that he works on, that I have a lot of respect for, it takes guts, and the risk that comes with it sometimes can make it a little bit rocky for your career if you're not careful. And what I've appreciated, even though I haven't had a ton of time to talk about the stories behind it, which I hope to hear more about today. Maybe it's a little selfish in my invitation. But just the stories on how to navigate that risk and how to address it in a healthy way, so you can continue to move forward and make progress in your career and what you want to do, but at the same time keeping good relationships and friendships with the people that may have some resistance. So yeah, without further ado, Alex, please come join us here. Yeah, so I know that if this is something you want to touch on now, cool. If not, I know that you've got some cool family news that happened. Yeah, I'd love for you to share that. Cool. Yeah, thanks, man.
I normally have no idea what to do with my hands, and I'm terrified when I speak. And I'm like have double duty here, a clicker and a microphone, so I'm set. I'll use elbows or something. So glad to be here with all of you guys. Excited to see so many familiar faces and a bunch of new faces. Last 24 hours have kind of been a roller coaster for me, a lot of new stuff going on. So my son got a mission call last night, which we were really excited about. He's going to Quito, Ecuador. So if anybody knows something about that mission, please tell me. I know nothing about that part of the world. Thanks for a couple of you that were there yesterday. I appreciate that. And then my daughter's here. I don't know where she is. There she is. That's Maddox right back there. Put up your hand again, Maddox. She's got the beanie on. She is now a marketer, which is pretty cool. I'm very excited by that. And I think there's 3 sets of father-daughters here today. Is that true? There was one there and another right there. Yeah, 3 sets, mine included. So this is going to be fun. Another one? Oh, yeah, we have 4. Yeah, I met you guys too. That's right. Sorry, I can't count. Let me see if I can work this clicker. So nobody knows it all, right, guys? Like, I don't know it all. Let's have an open discussion here. You can jump in, say anything at any time. But I have had some success in my career, whether I deserve it or not. It's happened, and I've had to deal with a lot of risk, and a lot of people have asked me about that risk, taking chances, and I thought I'd share some of that today. I'm going backwards. Okay, so if we are going to share anything, if we're going to get to know each other, I think you should know a little bit about me. And as we get to know each other afterwards, I'd love to hear something, about you if you're willing to share, and then we're friends after that, right? It's that simple. So I was born in North Carolina, moved around quite a bit, Tennessee, Maryland, California, ended up here in Utah, and this is my 82-year-old mom. That's Maddox right there, helping my mom on a slack line. And I give my mom a lot of credit for who I am today. She's pretty adventurous. She has no sense of style. She's not here, right, Max? You're not going to share. Don't share. But she's awesome. She's just really fun. She's willing to try different things, and she doesn't get embarrassed by what's going on around her or what other people say. I've struggled with that a little bit. As I mature a little bit, I get better with that, but she never cared what other people thought, and I always thought that was great. So in high school, we moved to Tennessee, and I hated it. No offense if you're from Tennessee, I did not like it. At least the town we were in. It's called Ottawa, Tennessee, just this tiny little place. And I picked up, packed my bags, and told my parents I was leaving. And this was in high school. And have I told you this story, Maddox? I didn't want you to know so you wouldn't leave the house. But I picked up and moved in my sister's basement. I was already accepted to BYU my junior year of high school. And I packed up, moved into the basement of my sister's place in Provo, and went to Timpview for a year. That was a pretty big risk. Could have been a disaster, but I think it worked out pretty well. This is my wife. She's amazing. This is like the first week that we met. Have you ever seen that picture, Maddox? You have seen that one? And just so you know, this is how I feel like I look right now. Like, dark hair, little soul patch. I know that I'm gray and there's a comb-over thing going on, but for some reason I still feel like that's how I look, so. Yeah, and I didn't know Maddox was coming, but this is cool. She's an inspiration to me because she is adventurous and she's willing to try new things, and she doesn't just follow what I taught her. She lives her own life, and I really respect that about my daughter. And I just show this other picture just so you know what we're into. My boys and I and Maddox, we love to be in the outdoors. And Case, my youngest, his favorite place in the world is Goblin Valley. So that's the little canyon that we like to hang out in at Goblin Valley. Other things we love, North Carolina's home, so big Tar Heel fan. And that's the boys fishing under our favorite little town in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. Okay, so you know a little bit about me. And maybe that gives you some perspective on how I think and how I do things. So I need to see my prompts here for some of this stuff. So risk is scary. Most of us don't like change, and no one likes to be uncomfortable. Our brains literally tell us not to take risks. Like, this is a proven thing. Tell me if I'm dropping the microphone, by the way. So risk is hard for most of us. And we've all heard the stats. I'm not going to pull up the percentages of what percent of new ventures fail. Some live on, and it's a constant grind. But there's some that get a snowball effect. And luckily, I've been a part of 2 of those in a row now, and hoping to share some insights and some consistent things that have popped up from what's happened there. Anybody know this reference? Who knows this movie? Dude, that's devastating. What's that? Yes. You're my favorite person in the room. What's your name? Janine. This is one of my favorite movies. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. Perks of Being a Wallflower. I had this moment when I told you that story about picking up from Tennessee and moving to Utah. I had no friends, no connections. Showed up at school, and for about a month, I sat there devastated, like, why the hell did I do this? Why did I take this jump and get out of my comfort zone and do something scary? You don't want to hear that story, but I made friends pretty quickly afterwards. But 2 things scare me more than risk or failure, and one is being forgotten and ignored. And that's how I felt in this situation. The other thing, and this is just a personal flaw of mine, is Jen Bagby here? No, she's not good. Okay, she's super organized. I am not super organized. She's our project manager in the marketing team at Kizik. I'm terrified of working a lot and getting nothing out of it. And I see that happen in marketing all the time. Like, everybody's doing all the things. They're doing their blog posts, they're doing content marketing, they're doing their social media, but nobody cares. And people are working hard and they care, but I really want you to think about that. Like, the stuff that you spend your time on, does it make a difference, and is it worth your time? You're doing a lot, you're asking for more money to do more things, does it really matter? So that's something that scares me when I think about risk and other things. So moving forward, I want to get your, I want to hear from you guys. Just yell out loud. What are the most iconic brands? What are the ones that you love that everyone loves? Let's see if I can predict the future. We got Nike. Okay, Nike and Apple. Every single time. Lately, I hear reference to Tesla. That's been popping up more, and they're a very unique anomaly. What I want to share about these 2, sometimes I'll get Coke, occasionally McDonald's, but that's disgusting. Starbucks. But we all remember the brands that have become legendary and iconic, and we think that they were always that way. They weren't. And we think they were just because of time and all the work that we've seen them put out. I'm not going to waste your time today, but I went back and looked at as many of their early ads as I could possibly find, and there were some really, I'm going to use my words wisely in front of my daughter, really bad ones, right? Some really crappy ones. They weren't as great as you think they are. They became something with time. They evolved. So one thing I want to share with you guys that I've dealt with in my career is I've been labeled a sloppy marketer by quite a few people. They've told me that my brands aren't buttoned up. They've told me that the projects I'm on look childish, and I actually agree with that, and I believe partially that's the way we started intentionally, because as Damien shared in his video, sometimes to get started you need to break through the clutter, right? But your brands can evolve, and they can get a little more elevated. They can take steps, and you can be forgiven for that. I think one of the biggest flaws in growth in marketing is people think they have to be too perfect, too buttoned up before they can scale or even launch. And I think that's where most people get stuck. So just wanted to share that. Okay, who knows this reference? Who's that? Dodgeball. Okay, more people know that one. So more people know the dumb humor than the intelligent stuff. So yeah, there you go. Who knows the reference of this line? What was being said at this point? What's that? Bold move, Alex. I hope it pays off for you. I saw you raise your hand too. Yeah. Bold move, Cotton. That's right. So What I'm going to challenge you today to do is try to start to think of ways to get out of your comfort zone and make more bold moves with your brand instead of just working to work and making yourself feel like you're doing things. So let's talk about how you can make risk a little more calculated and less risky. We all know the obvious stuff. This is what we talk about all the time, right? Figure out your measurement, know your data, test and learn. That's the one we all say constantly, right? We're testing and learning. So to me, these are the things that have made a big difference for me. Mentors push you, especially ones that don't think like you. And these are people that don't think the same way that I do. They have pushed me in my career, and I think it's important for everybody to have a few of those in their career. I'm pretty lucky one of them's here today, Wayne Moorhead. I come from an acquisition mindset or heavy digital mindset, and Wayne always challenged me on brand, and so I learned a lot from him. Monty is literally my favorite person in the world, and I want to be like this guy. He's just the coolest. He's willing to take risks, and he's a lawyer. That's a weird thing. And then Ellen, big-time exec, Whole Foods executive over marketing, Pret, if you guys have been on the East Coast or in London, there's hundreds of Prets. And Tesco, which is like Costco of Europe. She ran marketing there, and she challenges me daily, and I have a meeting with her right after this, and that will be a challenge. Right, Blake? Pete Malik is a legendary innovator. He's an investor in Kizik and a really sharp guy and thinks completely differently than I do. So there's been moments where I resisted all these individuals. Wayne, I think we always got along, but some of these other ones I resisted, and I just said that because he's here. We've had moments, but now there's a deeper bond, and we do cool things together, and we challenge each other and try to think differently. Let's see here. Okay, another thing that's really, really hard, and we all have emotions nonstop, is just to acknowledge that you have those emotions and realize that the fear that's stopping you from doing something bold is just that. It's just fear, right? It's once you can get used to that and you start taking chances, it kind of changes the way that you think. So number one, accept that you'll never win without risk. Nobody wants to do that, but I want to challenge you guys to do that. And guys, most of this stuff is going to be similar. It's going to seem like fluffy stuff. And normally I hate fluffy stuff presentations. I want like tactics, because that's my digital marketer mindset. But I'm sharing with you the things that for me have driven what I think have made a big impact on these last two businesses. So accepting that you'll never win without risk, learn to balance the emotion and the logic. That's still a challenge for me, and I still work on that one. Oops, I forgot that one. And then, you know, with risk, the more preparation, the more exploration you throw into the mix, the more comfortable you'll feel with that risk. And then, as I mentioned with both Purple and Kizik, in the beginning, we were kind of chaotic. You know, sometimes I mentioned my brands were viewed as sloppy. In the beginning, oftentimes we 100% depended on slapstick, or we 100% depended on just whatever it took to stop the scroll so people would pay attention. But the cool thing that happens with that is you ring the cash register, you make sales, then you can build the business, then you get some trust, and then you get permission to elevate your brand. And, you know, even Apple did that. Even Nike did that. And I think too many people now want their brand to be perfect, and I'm going to keep hitting that home before they do anything. Any guesses what I think the biggest key to risk taking is? Anybody have a guess at that? Actually, that might surpass my choice. That's a really good one. So my biggest key to risk is surround yourself with positive people. If you have a leader that is negative, you will not be able to take risks, and your business will likely not grow unless you're really lucky and the product is so inevitably better. I see a couple of people from the Kizik team here. Almost half of the Kizik team is somebody that I've worked with before, or we're a neighbor, or people that I trust and know that they're really talented at what they do. And so I just believe, heavily that, the people that you hire can be the biggest risk or the biggest asset to taking risks and taking your business forward. This is so I mentioned there was a mission call last night. I told myself I was going to spend all this time preparing my deck, and I didn't. So I grabbed some images last minute to get a couple points across. So this is a fuzzy, low-quality image here. But this is something that I do whenever I get to work each day. I think about who I'm going to go to lunch with. And that's my way of networking, and it's not people at Kizik most of the time. It's somebody else. If you want to go to lunch, grab me afterwards, and we can schedule a time. But to me, if I was to point back to one thing that has allowed my career to be slightly more successful than average, is the constant effort at trying to meet who's the best at what they do. And I'm not going to stop doing that, and I'm going to keep meeting new people, and it's going to keep driving growth for my brands. I know that sounds simple, and I know we all talk about it, but I've held to that pretty firmly, and it shows right here, just a little bit. So when should I take risks? Good risk isn't random or desperate, and I often feel like most people that think they're taking a risk, it's a moment of desperation. We've got to grow. We've got to do something. You have to take the risk before the moment of desperation. So to me, risk isn't desperate, it's opportunistic. So you're setting yourself up as opportunities arise, as you ring the cash register early by doing things to break through the clutter. You'll get opportunities. You'll be able to elevate the brand. You'll be able to present yourself in a more appealing way. So this was a weird opportunity for me. Maddox, do you know what happened here? I don't think you heard this story. This was like 2 weeks ago with your brothers. So we were sitting at home. I was feeling like a bad dad, just sitting there like, man, am I teaching my kids all the stuff that they should know? And I was feeling like, do I make them work hard enough? Maddox has always been our hardest worker. The boys, not as much. They don't have Maddox's work ethic. And I'm a sports junkie, and I was on Cougar Board, of all places, and some dude posted, I'm stuck. My house is snowed in. He wasn't literally stuck. He wasn't stuck in the house. This is his Airbnb, some wealthy dude. He was out of town, and the whole home was covered in snow. And he had renters coming in, or Airbnb people coming in, and he's like, I'm willing to pay a ton of money to do this. And it was on this message board with hundreds of or thousands of cheap Mormons, and I thought, I'm a Mormon, right? I can say that. And nobody responded. I'm like, I want my kids to work hard. I want them to make, more money than they deserve for this couple hours of work. And so I messaged him, and I thought the boys would be pissed at me, but they were like, yeah, let's do it. So we went up there for a few hours, and they removed this, and this thing was so compacted. It looks not that scary. But this was an interesting opportunity, right? Most people don't respond on forums to go do something or go to somebody's house. This guy could have killed us. That was probably a stupid risk, right? But that opportunity was fun for the boys. I gave them my share because I worked the whole time with them, and they made like $600. Wish you could have been there, Max. Easy money. I can't remember the purpose of this slide. Again, made this last night. Okay, so I served a mission in the Czech Republic, Prague. And this is a castle just outside of Prague. It's called Bojnica. And when I think about risk, I think about what is, and this section is about the timing of risk. I think about moats or protection. When is the right time to take that risk? And there are a lot of different moats that your business can have. You could have a strong brand. You could have patents. You could have IP. You could have, different access or a partnership that gives you access to customers. So that's just something I want you to, if you're taking notes or making lists of things that you should think about, really add in that protective moat idea to how you think about building your brand and when to take risks. If I look back at both Kizik and Purple, that's a big reason why we had success. You might think it was because of marketing and that's why I'm here. We had really great IP, great differentiation, great tech, Kizik has like over 100 patents. Purple had well over 200 patents on its gel-like material, right? And those things went a long way with us having success in super crowded markets. So this is how I felt for the last 8 years. Like, it's chaos. Footwear, there are thousands of shoe companies. Mattress industry, there were a couple hundred doing the exact same thing, trying to make funny ads, try to sell stuff on the internet, right? It was chaos. And Purple rose to the top. Like, Casper raised $250 million. There were hundreds of other bed-in-the-box brands. And ours, in the end, Casper was the media darling for a good 3 years. And we kept plugging along, doing our thing, getting more eyeballs for less money. And we stood out in the crowd, and Kizik is seeing the same results. We're just on kind of the middle of that trajectory right now. So we're going to talk about some examples, show you some things that worked for Purple. And so it doesn't seem like I'm taking all the credit. I want to make sure you see who was involved in the early days of when we made some changes. So you got Bryant Garvin here, Scott Dastrup, Matt Rogers, who's now the founder of Pesty, and killing it. Dan Bischoff's in there. Somebody else is behind there. I don't know who it is. So what we led how we moved forward, we thought about the Stanford studies. Stories are remembered up to 22 times more than facts alone. And we had cool stories. We had cool facts. We had IP, we had differentiation, but we relied heavily on our stories. So most people remember this spot. This was the Harmon Brothers spot with Goldilocks. This was an internal idea by a guy named Dan, not Dan Bischoff, but Dan, the son of the founder of Purple. And this won so many awards you wouldn't believe it. It was crazy. And again, I'm not taking credit for this. We were all a part of it. But this was here at the shoot. But after that, everyone was telling us, run with Goldilocks. You can milk that for 10 years, right? Just keep milking that. But we decided to take a risk and double down and triple down, and we told more stories with different characters and different personalities, and that created a fervor that really, I think, drove a big part of that momentum where we were known for a lot of different stories. So I'm just going to blitz through because of time. Where are we at here? Yeah, we're way into time, so I'm going to blitz. So another question I get asked a lot about, there was a week where people that were watching Purple saw we were front page of Reddit for an entire week. We got shredded on a story about a competitor. I can say it now, I guess, because it's been years. It's called Ghostbed, if you've ever seen that one. Slimiest of slimy people. Literally would do anything to put down another brand and make one more sale. And so their VP of marketing sent me a DM with his shirt off, flexing, and really weird. And and then he started doing all this stuff on Reddit and made it sound like our Purple, Mr. Watcott right here, the inventor of the Purple mattress, that it had a cancer-like material on this powder when you rolled the mattress. So literally our sales dropped right away. And so most people in PR will tell you, give a really, simple answer, get clear and to the point. We had fun with it. And next thing you know, we were blowing up on Reddit, being on the front page, not because of the negative thing. We dove in and shared all the illegal stuff that he was doing. And the next one was probably our biggest risk, which is really weird. Some people love it, Levi, some people hate it. This was our Purple Boys campaign. So why did we do this? Why did we take such a weird risk when we had Goldilocks and these other stories? Reddit at that time was the homepage of the internet, and the most popular people on Reddit were Tim and Eric, these two guys that if you watch Adult Swim or any shows I shouldn't watch, those guys were in them, right? And one of the most famous memes of the head exploding on Reddit, have you guys seen that one? That's Tim and Eric. If you've seen the free real estate spot, it's free real estate. It's really funny. It was those guys. So we paid, can I share this stuff now, Wayne? It's long enough, right? I think we paid $500,000 remember, we were driving revenue, and I wouldn't have done this in the beginning, but we paid $500,000 in a partnership with Facebook to promote 8 mini stories, and next thing you know, Reddit loved us. They went from hating us, our sales came right back. And that was a risk, right? So just this story alone brought back some swung the attention back in a positive way. Another funny story that happened was, and we didn't plant this one happened, but we amplified it after it happened. So Purple was the most searched for mattress in the world during this time, and it was getting a lot of virality, and one day we showed up in the office and everybody was like, did you see the Judge Judy spot? Did we do that? And everybody thought somebody else had done it. None of us did it. There was a fight between a husband and a wife that were getting divorced, and they were fighting over their Purple mattress, and that was the whole episode. And so being opportunistic, wanting to get a leg up, we boosted that and promoted that content and made sure everybody saw it. Okay, I'm gonna speed through here. One more thing I wanted to share that I think we did differently than most other companies was we tried tools and services, I think, quicker than most. Most people sign a long-term deal and they stick on their stack of marketing tools. We tried new things all the time, popping things in and out, see what worked. And the reason I share this is you guys know Scott Paul, right? Local LinkedIn, or he's booted from LinkedIn right now. Local celebrity, great guy, good friend. He had his tool Woolly, and we used Woolly not for the intent that he built it for, but it would show us who, oh, Woolly, right there. There you go. Hi. Kim was sales at Woolly, so. We used it to see who was a celebrity that had bought from us. So we had millions of people buying, and we didn't know if a celebrity was buying, but it showed us who was. And so we found out that Tim Cook was a customer, right? And there's amazing things you can do when you find out YouTube influencers and other people's are your customers. Okay, I'm gonna blitz through Kizik here for just a couple minutes. For context, I mentioned before this Hands-Free Labs, that's our technology division. We have Kizik, our brand, and then we also license to Nike, and they're also an investor of Kizik, which we're pretty proud of. This was the very early days. I don't think any of these guys are here. This is Steven, that's Spencer, and that's Jensen, and we had no space. And the funniest thing for me was this office was 2 blocks from Purple, and I was still the CMO at Purple, but it had just went public and it wasn't fun anymore, so I was sneaking over there at lunch breaks, and I'd hang out in the basement with these guys before I transitioned over. This is most of the current team, a couple changes. We've grown a lot in just a couple years. Hopefully you know what we do. We sell hands-free shoes. This is something I'm really proud of. I haven't had these high of numbers with any brand I've been a part of where people are so passionate and continue to use the product and get more of it. Another risk that we deal with constantly right now is we believe Kiziks are for everyone. We believe they're easy on, comfortable, convenient for everyone. However, a lot of people want to pigeonhole us and tell us we're an adaptive shoe company, and that happens weekly. However, when we started, we were that way a little bit. We thought, oh, that's where we can make the biggest change, is claim to be adaptive. People that have need to wear a shoe because they can't bend over and tie their shoes don't want to wear a shoe that nobody else is going to wear, right? So we made a quick pivot and made younger looking shoes from the leather shoes that we were making, and all of a sudden a vast majority of our customers are 20 to 35-year-old women, or and they're influencing other people to wear the shoes, and people that need the shoes are less embarrassed to wear them. So that was a big change for us. I'm not going to make you watch this ad because we have no time.
This is the Momsticle course.
But I do want to show, just for 5 seconds.
Have your hands free.
This is similar to what Damien showed, right? It's one of those quick cut, creatively / Harmon Brother style videos where you're trying to get attention. And again, that feels like a slapstick brand, right? You can do this kind of content while you're doing this kind of content.
So the Roamer really came out of our innovation labs. The Unified Tech was invented there, and it was truly a collaboration between product design and the innovation lab. We worked in parallel to bring this thing to life. First we sketched it, and then we literally passed it around to the team and sculpted it, and we worked side by side from concept all the way to final product.
Everything we had done so far was really familiar, and so the roamer was something that was going to be absolutely bold and courageous.
This component works because of material choice. This was definitely a function. So the foam is actually what's making the heel collapse and rebound. It's not just an aesthetic choice, it's not just a comfort thing. Those things also are important for the roamer, but this is exactly what makes it work.
For the roamer, we wanted it to look truly like.
So my point with showing those is, I'm just clicking through, sorry, I don't even know what I was going to share with this one. I wanted you to see that you don't have to be one or the other. You can promote both types of content in different environments. Like the last spot, for example, felt more brand accretive, felt a little more elevated. That's something we would put on the site and make sure that when people come to the site, they feel like, hey, when I wear this shoe, I'm cool, right? But maybe to get their attention, you're promoting some more of the slapstick sort of comedy, and it gets the attention, it gets people in the funnel, it gets them in consideration set. Like most brands, if you just push that second piece, nobody's gonna come to the site. Like you have to find a way to get both aspects of the business. Other risks we've taken, this was super expensive, and we don't have Purple's budget right now, right? But we had a really good gut instinct that airports and where people are taking on and off their shoes would work. And this was one of our bigger risks. We spent, I think, 6 figures on this, and we're in 4 locations during peak buying season of the year. And we saw brand lift. It didn't give us a huge pop in sales, but it gave us enough to take the next risk. Okay, we're at the end here. So this is, I do not like politics, and I don't know why that's up there. I didn't search for House Speaker vote. I think I just grabbed this off the internet. I wanted you to see, this is literally my favorite part of marketing, and it's really weird, and it's super nerdy. This dotted line is my favorite part of being in marketing. Like, what it is, it's a forecast of where you're going to be attention-wise. So Google Trends, when you put in your brand versus another brand, and I did this every day with Purple and Purple and Casper, I'm super competitive, and I want to beat whoever my competition is. And now I do it with Kizik and Allbirds. And so every day I want to know that we are skyrocketing in our attention. So it's a simple, stupid, free tool, but if you're not seeing that dotted line each month or each week or however often you look at it, you're being forgotten. So I'm fighting for this every week to get attention, to make sure that we're growing, that we're going to be ahead of our competition. So normally I have a comparison in there, but again, due to time, that's what you get. So today, the challenges I want to leave with you are build your risk muscle. I could have chosen those words better, Sarah, if I'd had your help, but that's what I came up with. Normally, now that we have a marketing department, I get help and use better visuals and better copywriting. I made all this by myself, so that's why it's all off center. Risk muscle, that's weird. Learn how to get bold. Explore ways to make your brand more memorable, differentiated, and worth talking about. And then, if you like me, try something new this week that you would not have tried with your brand before. That's my challenge to you, and thanks for your time. And I think we're going to do a Q&A.
So we're going to do a quick, about 10, 15 minutes of QA. Yeah, sit down, please. And for the recording, this is being recorded. There's your legal statement for y'all. When the question is asked, if you could repeat it so we can have it for the recording, that'd be great. And then I may have a couple for you at the end.
Okay, sweet.
Ladies first. Yes.
All right, thank you. So, Warby Parker just announced they're opening 900 locations. Congratulations on Kizik with their location in the Murray Mall. How do you think brands come to that decision, especially brands that built themselves on being an online brand?
Yeah, we were a little slower to retail with Purple, but now they're scaling. We had a few pop up there, and they're leaning into that as well. With Kizik, we're just taking that plunge. So obviously the first store at Fashion Place, please go tomorrow, or no, Friday. Friday, right? Friday? Yeah, Friday is our grand opening. Thursday, I think, is an influencer-only event. Maybe some of you will be there. So how do we think about when to take that plunge? Number one, I've referenced Casper, Allbirds, Warby. Those are the guys the D2Cs that raised a ton of money. They tested everything and learned everything in the beginning. A couple of them are really struggling now, right? Allbirds is really upside down and quite the mess. Casper's struggled. Warby, their stores did well early. And if you can do $1,000 per square foot, mall managers like you. And so if you can do that or more, like an Apple store does 20 to, depending on the location, $50 million a year, just one store. But like Claire's is doing like $300,000 in earrings, right? But it's kind of that measurement. If you can hit the $1,000 per square foot, mall managers want you in their store, and they'll approach you, and that's rare, and Warby has that, so they're scaling aggressively. We're opening our first store right now. We'll see how it goes. If it goes really well, we'd like to scale. This last month, I've barely seen the team because we're looking at locations. We've been in DC, we've been in Minneapolis, we've been in Seattle, and a lot of other places. So we're exploring, and our hope is to not have to raise more money because we're driving cash right now. So we might scale at a more measured clip. Warby is obviously going into the red to go that fast, but they've killed LensCrafter. They've killed everybody else. They will own the space, and I think what they're doing is wise once they've proved the point. And they'll be solid for decades, I think, unlike some others. Yeah. Oh, I didn't repeat the question, did I? Dang, I'm the worst.
What advice do you have for a marketer who wants to take more risks, but maybe leadership is a little bit more risk averse?
This is going to sound so daddish if Maddox is still here. So have the conversation with them, right? Like, we're doing all this work. We're not getting anywhere. And really, I don't mean this in a mean way. Like, most of you are probably getting nowhere with your marketing. You're doing stuff, and you're hiring people, and you're spending dollars, but you're not getting any attention. I'd have that conversation with them. 99% of the time, they're not going to listen. And things. If they're already stubborn, I mean, I don't know what to say other than get a new job. Like, I mean, I'm serious. Like, I mean, if you really need, if you're one of those, a lot of people can sit at their bank job and do their thing and go through the motions and they're content with stability. I don't have that in me, like, and it's a flaw maybe, but like I have to make a difference. And so I haven't lasted at many jobs very long because once it gets too big, I'm not having fun anymore. And I don't feel like I'm making a difference. Like it feels like I'm a robot. And so that's just who I am. For you, I don't want to, I don't want to tell you to quit your job even though I did. I don't know. I'd have the blunt conversation if you're willing to take that risk and if you have enough trust with them just to chat about it. But yeah, I don't know what to say, man. You're screwed.
Alex?
Yes.
So I remember seeing the news that Nike had invested and that you were partners. Take a moment and talk about that relationship with Nike at whatever levels you can, because I know some of it is obviously confidential.
That is the one question I fear like no other. Nike is amazing and a brand that I have loved for forever. I mean, when I grew up, I don't know if you know this, but people think Nike dominated for decades and decades since the Jordan deal. They increased, and then they actually decreased, and Reebok took over in a big way. And in those years, I was already a Nike fan. I was wearing Nike as a kid, so I've always loved Nike, one of my favorite brands. So I fall into that stupid slide of the two obvious ones with Apple and Nike. I can't say much. I wish I could. Anytime we've said just about anything, we get in a little bit of trouble. So they are great partners. They're an investor. We love them. Two things behind the scenes that I'll share that I probably shouldn't, but I can't help myself because you're looking at me. They let us into the kitchen, which was so much fun, where we get to see how they innovate, how they make new shoes. You did say this is being recorded. Where is the recording going?
We'll cut out whatever you want.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. No, so they're releasing a lot of new shoes, and I can only talk about the stuff that has been released, right? So if you're an Air Force, I want you to buy Kiziks, right? But we also make money when you buy Nikes with hands-free technology. I love Air Force Ones. That came out last week. There's a hands-free Air Force One if you want to grab that shoe. They're doing a lot of cool things. They're huge. They're complicated. I probably couldn't ever work there, right? But they're great. That's a really boring answer.
Hey,
Any other
Alex.
questions? Wait, let's go right here real fast. Favorite reaction, from pitching to the team? Oh, man. So you saw those Purple Boy images. That one was brutal. Yeah, some of the OG Purple guys right behind you, I don't know if they knew this, but I took heavy heat from the board on that one, and there was literally a divide and like a fight over that. Like, this is not our brand, this is not what we do. I'm like, guys, I know you're older than me. People see different things in different places. Because something lives on Reddit doesn't mean it has to be front and center on our website, doesn't mean it needs to be the front of our company. Yeah, I can't share any board discussions because there were some funny quotes from that. But that was probably the most memorable one, is the board literally, you spent what on what? And this is live? And yeah, that was the funniest one. Oh, yeah. No, I always ask forgiveness afterwards. Always. Always, yeah. As long as the budget's there, ask forgiveness afterwards. Because they're happy once you get the results. So that's one other thing I'll share. So, I mean, most years I put out 2 or 3 big-ish videos that are a big expense. If you average out over like the last 10 years of my career, there's only one that didn't drive massive impact. And Wayne remembers this one. I don't know if anybody else in this room would. It never went live because the founder hated it that bad. There was one little innuendo that we couldn't help sneaking in there. Sorry. But yeah, all of them, like when you take these chances, if you follow the steps that you know work, it will work as long as you can get it out there. And so we always got results, and so in most cases, they're like, oh, sweet, but they didn't want their wife to see it, or they didn't want the board to know about it, or yeah. Sorry, I promise I'm not crude, but.
Yeah, thanks for your time. Love what you share. So the question I have is, so when you take risks, do you typically build any safety nets around it on the risk that you take? And also, when you took the risk, but the outcome didn't turn out the way you wanted, how do you pivot?
Yeah, so obviously I'm pushing you guys to take chances you normally wouldn't. I'm not saying go get a loan on your home and put yourself at risk. I'm saying try something a little more bold than what you've typically done. So yeah, I mean, if some of those pieces had failed, or if some of our, when we did the Reddit piece, or when we did, we rolled with Judge Judy, if for some reason there had been a backlash, I actually don't think it's as bad as people think it is. People think when somebody gets negative on their brand. I have a friend in this room that where is he? Oh, he left. He had something happen with his brand that wasn't fun. And people don't care, like, a few weeks later in most cases, I mean, Nike, Apple, they've all had things happen that could be devastating, you would think, from a PR person's perspective. It gets forgotten so fast. So my advice to you is, if it fails, don't think you can't take the next risk, because the risk, the one that works, will outperform 10 years of doing your normal marketing stuff. 10 years, like seriously. And most of you still won't take a risk, right? Like, that one move will make more difference than everything you've done over most of your career.
There's a lot of newer marketers in the room, and they're wanting to learn, that you mentioned it in there about just do what you know is going to work and maybe don't know what's going to work yet. And and they're slower moving companies. So what do you recommend for people who are wanting to learn more, wanting to expand that knowledge base, just aren't quite getting the full breadth?
So you're at the slide's gone, but the lunch cycle, you need to be going to lunch with people that are seeing success. Not just the ones that talk about it and that get the attention, but like the people that you know are behind businesses that are making a difference. They've figured out, so I'm a big, like, a lot of the stuff we've talked about is creative stuff. I'm actually, like, I started out in computer science, right? That's how I started out at BYU and came from the digital side. I love the math of marketing. I love to know that for every dollar I'm spending, I'm getting more audience and more attention than other brands. So that's something, not that it's, I mean, I'm not trying to put down the other brand. I'm not trying to harm them. I just want to make sure that our business is sound and that we can hire people and grow and have a good time. And but yeah, you're at the lunch cycle. And I don't know if you do that already, but like if you start meeting with new people that are, you know, in advertising and creative and all these different areas, you'll start to pick up things that work for most people, and it will get easier.
Make sure this works. When you think through risk in content, oftentimes it gets watered down by, we're going to take this big risk, but then everybody else plugs in. They're like, oh, well, like we need to do this to sell the product. How do you make sure when you finally like launch a video or a piece of content that it's not watered down? Do you want it watered down? Like, how do you think through that blend?
Yeah, I'm trying to act cool right now, like I just like wing everything that I do, but like in the end, you really have to have that racy chart thing where it's the responsible person, the accountable person, the informed, the consultant, right? And to get creative that makes a difference through, it has to be a small room of people that weigh in on that decision. It can't be the whole executive team. It can't be the whole marketing team. And it's painful, and everybody wants to be a part of the next big story. So maybe you rotate and take a couple people out, bring in a couple people the next time. We're still figuring that out at Kizik right now. We don't have quite the same flow that we had before with that. Our team's awesome. They're better in a lot of ways, but we're still figuring out, man, who needs to be here right now, you know? But yeah, it's got to be a small room with people that know the steps and the formula, and then you'll see success. But it's hard to tell people no, they can't be a part of the process, and that sucks. We good?
Let's do one more, yeah?
Okay, sure.
I was just curious, going from like Purple to Kizik, where your AOV maybe is 10%, like how have you adapted to that? You know, because I feel like that's such an advantage to have a huge AOV like that.
Yeah. No, that was nice at Purple when we were selling, you know, multi-$1,000 beds and it would bring back more dollars. We did scale faster. We hit higher revenue faster. I do think Kizik will be bigger in the end because footwear is a $200 to $300 billion space, and mattresses in the U.S. is maybe 14 to 18 billion. You know, so the space is substantially different. Sorry, remind me your question again. My brain just froze.
How have you adapted to
I'm embarrassed to say, like, the way I operate is almost identical. So I'm not trying to make the most cash flow rich business right now. Like, I love to push really hard for 3 to 5 years, and then you get to have the exit, and then you can adjust the business and make changes. So I like to take every dollar that we get back and push back. So in most cases, it's worked out to, like, for every, you know, every $3 that we make, I get $1 back, right? The rest has to go to ops or overhead or inventory or whatever. And that math has been similar for those two businesses. So we're just, Purple had, you know, each sale was a higher order, but conversion's a lot easier with shoes. So it's almost equaled out where if I spend that $1, I still get $3. And I know a lot of you are getting way better ROAS on stuff, and we could too if we slowed down, but we're trying to push with every extra dollar that we can and do something big. And we could have a 10 ROAS maybe, I don't know, if we slowed down, but we're pushing really, really hard. So we intentionally do that. A lot of people brag and like, look at this campaign, but they scale their business a couple $1 million a year. You know, we want to be a multi-billion-dollar business, so we are pushing very hard.
Okay, let's do a round of applause here. All right, to close things out, just want to say thanks again to our sponsors. Big thanks to Damien Dayton at Creatively. Thanks to Jason, Kaylin from University of Utah. I'm so grateful for the support to make these events happen. Thanks, of course, to Silicon Slopes for sharing their space with us. And Dave does not get, Dave Meekum, you don't see his face. Dave, come on out just for a quick second. You don't see Dave. Can you hear me, Dave? There he is. This is Dave, and he is the man, guys. He does a lot for us. If we can give him a round of applause, too, that would be incredible. Thank you. Want to thank the Silicon Slopes Marketing Chapter Presidency for all the work that they do. April, Matt, Nicole, a lot of them had to go, but they do a lot to make these happen. I took a lot of awesome notes. And some of my favorite, just a really quick recap, risk isn't desperate, it's opportunistic. I love that. The biggest risk in marketing isn't failure, it's doing a lot of work that nobody really cares about. I love that too. Also, don't send Alex shirtless pictures. That's on my list here. No, seriously though, this has been incredible. Hopefully y'all have had a good time. Hopefully that your tummies are full, your hearts and brains are full. You're going away with some really awesome insights. This is why we do what we do. This is why we come together to learn, to connect, and serve. So thank you for coming, and excited to see you at the next one.